to end. Cut. Perfect. Very nice.
Matt, what can you tell us about the story?
Ash is the story of Frank and James Barron. Frank is played by Ray Winstone and James is played by Jim Sturgess. And Frank is in a mental hospital. He's been left there for over a year.
There's a guy suffering with Alzheimer's disease. And at the start of the film, he's in a home. You know, being treated the best they can, I suppose. And his son turns up.
My character basically kidnaps his own father from a hospital to take him home.
And it's a bit of a road movie in that sense, you know, they go on a road trip.
They go on this kind of ridiculous, often violent, very sad, very funny, you know, sort of journey together in this car.
But all the while it's flashing back to the memories, his memories of Kathy and the disease and all of that.
Along the way, you start to realise that neither man is quite who they seemed at the beginning of the story.
Did you always have Ray in mind for the character?
I had such a great experience working with Ray on Sex and Drugs, and I started thinking about what else I could do with him. And in the meantime, I'd been writing this script, and the more I wrote it, the more I started tailoring it to him and thinking, actually, he'd be perfect for it. And the same with Jim. I mean, I always thought Jim would be perfect for it because you're playing someone who does some pretty down and dirty things during the course of the film, but actually who you've got to love. And Lesley's an actor who I've loved for years, and I was just, you know, she was absolutely my first and only choice for the part of Kathy, who's Ray's wife.
I sort of felt quite close to the whole story because I lost my mother to dementia last year. So I read the script and I really thought it was tremendous.
Apart from the relationship between James and Frank, the emotional centre really is between Frank and Kathy. He's lost someone, he thinks he's lost someone who was crucial to his life. And unless you have that, unless in these flashbacks you can really get back to her character and really see who she was, you don't really have a film.
Just promise me, darling, your love in return.
And what attracted you to the script when you first read it?
It's just brilliantly written. It's, you know, it's original. I'd never read anything like that before. It's got great scope to do some really fun and interesting acting.
You pick up a script like I did with Sexy Beast or Nil by Mouth, and something touches you within that script. If you're lucky enough to get those scripts. You know, I've never had a chance to play someone with a kind of illness like that. You know, and to be in a scene where you're not actually conversing with the other actor, because, you know, he says things that you don't even take in. It's like you're in your own little movie.
And action.
And it must be really hard for Jim because he's got no one to bounce off of.
Are
you crying? No, don't tell me you're crying.
It's been two things, amazing and a nightmare all at the same time. The reason being is that Ray is so good at his job and so thorough with his work that he doesn't let off at all. You know, like, I have to look after him on a daily basis.
I don't make it easy for him. You know, if he wants me to move, he's got to move me. I don't move anywhere, you know. And if he puts me in the line, I'm going there, and he's got to stop me. Forget the mark.
Just kiss. Right, leave it off. You want to slow down, mate?
He finds it very difficult to distinguish between past and present and fact and fiction.
He's got a flashback of a memory of his wife who sung her favourite song, you know, and Frank's happy times before he starts to go and fall into this terrible disease, you know.
You don't want to be losing your mind, don't you?
Stop it.
Oh, what's she doing?
I've written with very, very specific kind of camera moves in mind and shots in mind. And very early on, I'll get Chris Ross, the DP, together and we'll sit down and just brainstorm.
Each of those transition moments were quite carefully worked out, and each transition is considered, either we do a visual effects element for it, or we did some yesterday with some moulded plexiglass to try to make the real world and the memory world sit together and reflect each other.
Frank, he's been set up with a prostitute, but he's been told that she's called Kathy. And so he looks at the prostitute and then it'll go into being an image of me.
I was trying to get as close as possible, from an outsider's perspective anyway, to be able to see what it might be like to be trapped inside the mind of someone with that disease.
Come on, let's all cheer up, shall we? Come on, let's get a photo. Get a picture. Go on, cheer up. There's your photo. Look at the camera. Go on. Happy families day. All right, happy families. What's your problem, dog?
Have you done any research before you started making the film about Alzheimer's?
We did some, yeah. Matt had a whole bunch of documentaries and you know, articles and stuff to read, so we read all of those and I watched all of those.
So my dad was ill for almost 10 years and I spent a lot of time going back and forth, and obviously looking after him with my family. So it was something that was, you know, intensely personal from the offset.
At first, I was a bit. How do you ask a guy whose dad died with Alzheimer's disease? You know, but he's making the story. You know, and he's been a great help from that point of view as well.
We got Ray to go through a lot of footage that I shot with my dad.
Give me a lot of good ideas about playing the part, and also, you know, about being truthful to the illness in a way. You know, I don't want to just be ill in a film and, you know, and make it work for the story. The story's also got to work for the illness, I think.
Come on, we're going to go home now.
Mum, what's going on?
No, I don't.
Matt, I guess, is quite new. Are you enjoying the process of working with a new director?
Matt has been brilliant. He's definitely, you know, got the talent and the ability and the passion.
There's a looseness with the scenes, a kind of flexibility with them that Matt is encouraging.
You start off with this idea and you really want to get the gist of the scene. There are key moments that you have to hit, but actually I'd much prefer that they tailor it to their own specifications. They actually come in and make the part their own.
You're allowed to bring something to the table, and that makes you part of making a film, and that's what I like.
No, Mum, don't go with me, all right? Don't go with me, all right? You can stay here with me!
It's all right, Jamie, you don't have to spread.
Audiences, when they, in a year's time or so, when they go into the cinema, what are they going to see up on the screen?
It's a British film, but it's, you know, Matt has really captured a real style. You know, he really wanted it to be visual.
I don't know how you put it in a boxes, you know. I mean, if you say to someone it's a film about a guy with Alzheimer's disease, I guess no one would really want to go and watch it, but it's a road movie in a way. It's a buddy movie.
It is a bit of a thriller, it is a bit of a road movie, it is a bit of a romance, it's a love story, it's a tragedy, and it's a comedy a lot of the time.
I hope that that we make a film that wrong foots people and that they go in possibly thinking it's going to be one kind of film and actually turns out to be something else.